Lady C has given the latest extended version of Meghan's mother. And what is the dark past of her pregnancy journey with Meghan? Join me to find out and go deeper into the story. And welcome to my channel. As we know, Lady C has released a book titled Meghan and Harry, The Red Story. And her latest statement in Chapter 8 got me quite interested. And what shocked me the most was the revelation about Doria, Meghan's mother. In the chapter, Lady revealed that Meghan's mother was addicted to banned substances, and what was the real story behind the problem? Let's dive in a bit. Meghan did not have a happy childhood as her mother abandoned her throughout her childhood, and then when Meghan grew up, she appeared and forced her to go to a nude spa in Korea. This is bad, but it's not as bad as when she tried to put a bunch of cocaine in her system when she was pregnant with Meghan, right? Looking back a bit, Meghan was born in 81, which is the early 80s, and if Doria continued to use drugs, that's why she was absent from Meghan's life growing up throughout the 80s and into the 90s. I wonder if the substance abuse affecting the fetus is the cause of the narcissistic tendencies, but it could be due to sometimes stupid behavior. Says lie as if the truth won't come out. I feel like laughing at substance abusers and their sadness, and the hypothesis that Lady C makes are not without evidence. She has multiple sources that can confirm this. This is a serious request. For example, she mentioned neighbors who might smell drugs. Another source could be Doria's family. Her nephew gave an interview with memories of a happy child named Meghan. He talked about a lot of memories and he had photos. I also heard a story that back then Doria only had one child and didn't even want to bother raising it at that time. Was Meghan born in a warehouse? If she had been born in a US hospital, there would have been treatment records and social services would have been involved. Allegations like this would completely change the narrative of her being a victim of racism. She is a spoiled child. I have also worked with children with fetal alcohol syndrome and other drug abusers, and the neurological and cognitive consequences affect all aspects of development. And if you consider her environment as well as a child, she is the living definition of entitled, spoiled, and precocious. I wonder if Meghan was a preemie, because babies of addicts are often born premature and have health issues such as brain and lung development. I think this would explain the physical deformities, and I'm not even trying to be mean. Her legs, arms, and bone structure looked like it could be related to a birth defect. In addition to chronic mental illness, I often wonder if she is suffering from other chronic illnesses. I think armchair diagnosing someone like this is dangerous. Becoming a drug addict is not a symptom of your mother smoking while you're in the womb. Calling Doria a weirdo is not harsh. I'm not saying I don't believe that statement. I'm inclined to believe it because I heard Doria is still using drugs. That was just the excuse she used back then. Doria's drug addiction certainly explains her lack of stability in employment, housing, and parenting. Her lack of connection to her family and community could also be explained. And you know what? Many years ago, I read a biology book by high school students in America. I was shocked at what happened in that book. That is a lesson about drug use and its harmful effects on the body. Common substances, their chemical composition, and their effects on the brain and body make up the content of the lesson. In black and white print, clear as day, textbooks and student workbooks say that cocaine is not addictive. I have a habit of always keeping books. Years later, when I found it and reread that chapter, I shuddered that this was taught in American public schools. I don't know if this scenario happens anywhere else in the world, but it is a tragic part of education. And I still remember my mother telling me that the education system in the 70s was worth reconsidering. During those years, the teacher said that the placenta acts as a filter to keep harmful substances away from the fetus. At the time, I thought it was a bunch of crap. Sometimes you have to think for yourself. Authoritative question. That makes me worry about generations of mothers who smoke and drink alcohol while pregnant without paying much attention to issues that are harmful to their health and protecting the child in their womb. That probably also proves that the mindset of some ancient people like Meghan's mother, Doria, was abnormal like the book I read. Perhaps she was also taught that drug use is not harmful to the body. Honestly, I didn't want to blame Doria at that time because other mothers probably did too. It's all due to a toxic education. During the late 70s and early 80s, it was true that alcohol and drugs were unavoidable. Even at that time, many women ended up depending on it, and it was also prescribed by doctors to help women avoid dizziness. But in addition to those who smoked during pregnancy, some mothers stopped smoking during pregnancy. Cocaine is not okay. I'm not trying to justify it, but it happened, and it happened to an entire generation. I also heard my mother tell many horror stories about thalidomide children with all kinds of deformities. My mother loves to tell me horror stories and secondary trauma. What about the palace side? I think everyone in the royal family knows Doria's background. Therefore, the royal family had to welcome her many times. Some of them have been filled in. No wonder the late queen wore a terrible shade of green and looked like that. Harry pulls in the trash and they have to act normal. I guess the palace helped bury it at Rachel's request. Rachel is doing some major PR for her before the wedding, and she's introduced as a social worker, even though Doris doesn't have a license, a social work job, and works as a yoga instructor. About how she didn't know where she was, but it seemed like she was out for a while. What about Lady C's suspicions in her video that made everyone upset and want Harkles to sue Lady C? Wasn't it a few weeks ago that Lady C publicly challenged Harkles to sue her in one of her videos? What about her? She said, "Sue me, sue me." I think Lady C has crossed the line of "I will be cautious" and is determined to pursue the case because she will force Harkle and Meghan to sit in court and testify under oath. I also want to talk more about Lady C. Lady C is being very careful but thorough. In Chapter 8, she lays out the facts, like the weird size changes of Markle's baby bump from day to day that make no sense. And the famous incident at Birkenhead where on camera the bump dramatically drops down, and then in Markle's next appearance that day, the bump is back in place. What I learned is that it was right after Birkenhead that Markle claimed she was suicidal due to people in the press saying things about her, and Harry sought to muzzle the press to protect her. Starting to look like the suicide claim was a tool in her arsenal to get the media to back off from reporting and speculating on what they had seen when the bump fell. Because if they didn't, they would be responsible for Markle's possible suicide attempt. Lady C mentions there is a video of the bump drop on the internet, and the internet cannot be silenced or bullied. She also brings up the 8-month-old pregnant Markle in high heels, with her knees together, easily bending down and easily standing up, and that the obstetrician claimed to be her obstetrician for Archie was actually out of the country when Archie was born. Lady C refuses her lies about why she couldn't pose with the baby outside Portland Hospital after the birth. Lady C simply and carefully lays out all the facts in the long chapter, and we are to deduce the truth. What a clever way to avoid a lawsuit. Based on all the evidence provided, it certainly points to a fake pregnancy. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial on Kobo. Next, related to this incident, I wanted to mention Samantha Markle's lawsuit with Meghan. I'm saying that I also consider Samantha Markle's weakness a factor. In terms of her legal actions, misrepresenting the truth or outright lying would only land Meghan in court. Lady C, Samantha, and this entire sub, including me, want Meghan to go to trial because as soon as the discovery and testimony begin, the sooner Meghan's bad behavior beyond her dispute with Samantha will be exposed. In a way, Sam's lying would only make it more likely that Meghan would be taken to court. That's a great kind of strategy. I tend to trust Samantha Markle. Both sides soon said what was revealed was true. That said, even though Sam's early claims about Meghan turned out to be true, she now has an incentive to lie. Meghan lied about her, and it lured Meghan into taking her to court, which would reveal more about Meghan Markle than this. There's always a defense that Samantha Markle can use that Meghan used, reminiscing about her childhood. If Meghan could say she has no sister and is invisible, so Sam can say very clearly that she saw Doria holding an ice pipe. How about you? What are your thoughts on smoking and pregnancy when giving birth? In my opinion, perhaps even though Meghan doesn't live near her mother, she still has her mother's bad habits. It also makes me worry about Archie and Lily when those children haven't been brought into the light. Perhaps Meghan also smokes and drinks like her mother and harms the children. That's not certain either. I still feel sorry for those dark children of Harry and Meghan. I hope they are safe and peaceful. Reflecting on the issues we have just discussed, I believe it opens up many fascinating perspectives and deepens our understanding. Your opinions are extremely valuable as they enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from many different angles. So, do you like the topic I brought you today? If so, type OK. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But please leave me a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video. Your support is a strong motivation for us to continue to improve and provide deeper content. Thank you, and I look forward to our next meeting. Take care. King Charles's refusal ended all efforts of the destroyed couple to return to the royal family. Are the comeback attempts real or just fake? Join me to find out and go deeper into the story. And welcome to my channel. Recently, US Globe magazine reported that Harry and Meghan are trying to suppress King Charles to return to the royal family. News like that appeared a long time ago, but they still haven't seen any action. Faced with that situation, William was a clever person who protected King Charles, his respected father, at all costs. Meghan and Harry have been trying to promote this dead duck's return for over a year now. It won't happen no matter how many times she tries to make it happen. All I see is a lot of media willing to participate in pay-to-play schemes. The media even reported that King Charles only had 2 more years to live, but that attempt may not have been successful because luckily the king looked upbeat and healthy during his Easter stroll. After seeing the king's appearance after Easter services, I would have to say he doesn't look like a man in failing health. He looked very well for someone finishing rounds of chemotherapy. This is just nonsense. If the Harkles are demanding a return to royal service, that is dreadfully ironic. They're the ones who left royal service quite deliberately. We can only imagine the emotional and even physical stress King Charles has had to endure as a result of these 2 goals, and the link between stress and chronic illness is well established. Shame on them. And if such articles were indeed created by her, then this is narcissistic abuse on a seemingly endless global scale. You'd think she would burn out at some point. I have to constantly remind myself that she is a different species. This is exactly how narcissists act around cancer patients or anyone who is seriously or critically ill. Lurk around for the money, terrorize those who are sick, play the victim, attack the adults in the room, and just wreak as much havoc as possible. It's textbook really, whether you're rich, royal, famous or not. It's why this story has resonated with so many of us. I don't know if this newspaper thinks before writing articles or not. I mean, they look like morons. Charles is dying from stress caused by Harry, but William is the villain for protecting his dad from the stress Harry is inflicting by blocking access? Maintaining a boundary is the surest way to end up on a narcissist's shit list forever. They villainize William because he holds the line. Would that not make William the smart, compassionate one trying to protect his father, King Charles III? If the Harkles are stressing King Charles III to the point of deteriorating his already fragile health due to his diagnosis and treatment, then this is protective behavior that should be applauded and seen as loyal and strong. Harry and Meghan can attempt to paint William with any brush they want. The rest of the world sees William as he is and accept their sugars now. This one and his first wife are lunatics. This is a typical roach, doing her best to present William as the enemy as he is obstructing her perceived right for Harry to be king and herself queen. She doesn't realize that the UK government can block succession if they deem an heir to be unfit to be king or queen. It hasn't happened for many years, but I'm sure they would veto Harry to abolish the royal family in the UK if they were presented with Harry as heir. This article shows exactly how unhinged Roach is. She is desperate to defeat Catherine in the popularity stakes, but is blind to the fact that it is her behavior that has her so reviled. Meghan only wants Harry to be able to talk to King Charles III so that he can bleed money from him as their funds are either already gone or about to be gone. Everything with her is about money. She is quite desperate as nothing she has attempted has achieved anything long-term in income. She sees King Charles III as nothing more than an ATM that she should be able to access as often as she wants, and William is obstructing this. William is only doing what any reasonable person would in protecting his father, who is vulnerable because of his health issues at the moment. Her paid puff pieces in rag publications are so evidently her work that they are laughable and unbelievable. In my opinion, she is unraveling rapidly and is able to see reality. And I'm sure Harry and Meghan can't ever return to royal duties because the general public in the United Kingdom will never welcome them back, and the royal family knows this very well indeed. Let's add the fact that William will never forgive Harry for the interminable list of offensive things he has done and has allowed Meghan to do, and this is a non-story. Never will we see Harry and Meghan on a balcony, in a carriage, walking in procession for state affairs. I'm sure it was Meghan's original idea that Harry would always be provided for through a combo of personal family money for personal items and everything related to his official duties from the sovereign grant. He also had his money from Diana and the rumored money from Queen Mum. If he's been foolishly spending it to keep Meghan in a lifestyle they can't afford, too bad, so sad. I'm sure several people, including the king, thoroughly explained the money to Archie before he left, and he left anyway, believing Meghan when she said they'd become billionaires and Hollywood royalty. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't think they're broke. As for King Charles, I just want to say that the king is a grown-up. He can decide for himself that he doesn't want to talk to a traitor. King Charles is starting to do things differently to his mother's ways, and by the time it's William's turn, it's game over for the overseas relations. And why wouldn't Camilla be upset? She and Charles were always meant to be together, as much as I didn't like the thought back in the 1990s. The love of her life is ill with a killer disease. He is worried about his daughter-in-law Catherine, who is also recovering. And he is being treated as public enemy number 1 by his younger son. And you know what? These are just my thoughts. Somehow, I think that William and Charles are working in tandem. They both have morals and are father and son. William will take up the throne with nothing lost from his father and grandmother. But I have to say that maintaining boundaries is the surest way to stay on the narcissist's bad list forever. They despised William because he kept his way. And I think this is Meghan's fantasy. She wishes she had the power to make the people she hates abandon her. Perhaps she also thought that Harry would receive huge sums of money from the king in his will. I don't think so. Like Her Majesty the Queen's entity, it's likely it will all go to Prince William. Harry and Meghan have caused major stress to their family, both sides. They were awful to Prince Philip and Her Majesty the Queen in their last days, and the stress of those leaked allegations by scabies certainly contributed to King Charles and the Princess of Wales's illnesses. Who needs that stress? Harry and Meghan are such selfish people. Neither has a conscience or heart, and only one has a brain. I believe that Harry and Meghan were told that if they didn't start towing the line, they would have to stop representing the crown. They chose to leave in a snit, convinced that the royal family couldn't be without them, and there would be a popular outcry for them to come back. Meanwhile, they would be free to make lucrative deals to supplement the income they believed they were entitled to. We all know how that turned out. They did everything wrong and they set fire to every single bridge with great dedication. Meghan's greatest talent seems to be for burning bridges. I agree that King Charles III has come to terms with the reality that Harry is gone and probably irredeemable. There is not much more to be done except to protect the monarchy and the rest of the family. There is no need for King Charles III and the princess to be kept informed of every stupid tabloid story or Meghan's latest manifestation. It is funny to say this, but King Charles III was a great admirer of the wild landscapes of Transylvania, and I read that he bought several houses to rent them out. Maybe he could put Harry in a small house with a small allowance to keep him out of trouble. I recommend giving too small an allowance for a luxury place like a plane ticket. In return, he will have to learn the language to communicate with his neighbors. Sounds like a peaceful and pastoral existence. The Carpathian Mountains sound lovely. And finally, I want to conclude if Harry and Meghan's demands to get back to the royal life are making the king sick, how is that William's fault? Maybe if they don't make demands, King Charles III will be less stressed. It almost sounds as if the article is blaming William for making Harry and Meghan persist in their demands by not letting King Charles III yield to Harry and Meghan's demands. King Charles does not want Harry and Meghan back. He didn't even spend a half hour alone with Harry when Harry showed up right after his cancer announcement. He doesn't need William to tell him not to let the Harkles back in. He is doing that all by himself. While I am sure Camilla worries about him, King Charles III seems to be doing well. Stress increases vulnerability to illness, but it doesn't follow that Harry and Meghan are causing King Charles III any more stress now than 2 or 3 years ago. My best guess is King Charles III has come to terms with the reality of Harry's pain as it is, and that whatever demands the Harkles are making don't reach him directly because his staff has to deal with Harry and his constant misbehaving. So nothing in the article sounds true, particularly any suggestion that it is William and not Charles who is keeping Harry away. Reflecting on the issues we have just discussed, I believe it opens up many fascinating perspectives and deepens our understanding. Your opinions are extremely valuable as they enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from many different angles. So, do you like the topic I brought you today? If so, type OK. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But please leave me a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video. Your support is a strong motivation for us to continue to improve and provide deeper content. Thank you, and I look forward to our next meeting. Take care. There is evidence to point out Harry and Meghan continue a new plot with their Sussex squad to attack the royal family. So what is their plot? Join me to find out and go deeper into the story, and welcome to my channel. A recent discovery shows that an online troll group called the Sussex Squad, headed by a man named Christopher Boozy, has committed reprehensible acts. It is worth mentioning that the lying couple Harry and Meghan are also involved in this squad and caused damage to their royal family. Time and again, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have presented themselves as guardian angels, attempting to drive hate of the World Wide Web, the exiled. And Duchess of Sussex used various media and public platforms for internet trolling, suggested it has taken a significant toll on their mental health. Meghan even stated that she had a negative reaction for receiving an almost unsurvivable quote in a failed attempt at Ghana's sympathy. At the same time that the platform has quite a bit of hate speech and rhetoric, while also encouraging people to create pages where they can make very inflammatory comments and conspiracy theories that can have an extremely negative impact on anyone's morale there. Neither does Harry, as far as I know. He has several anonymous accounts to frequent X Patrol and other sites that he claims to despise, and even takes on a role on the Committee on Information Disorder for the globalization organization, the Aspen Institute. So what if I told you that this whole act is at best a big mirage, a publicity stunt because Harry and Meghan stand head of one of the largest internet troll gangs of our time? The gang was unofficially led by a man they considered a professional ally and friend, Christopher Boozy, whose research Meghan paid, later famously starred in the TV show Their Famous Netflix Reality, a group that I can directly identify with, starting with terrible rumors about the whereabouts of Princess of Wales Catherine, spreading around the world when in reality she had just been diagnosed with severe cancer. The gang spent years spreading false information about Prince William's sexual preferences, often using bot farms and the dark arts of the internet to amplify damaging rumors. A gang proudly identified themselves as the Sussex Squad, which Harry and Meghan have never publicly or privately denounced. I've also seen chatter about some crazy accounts attacking a Meghan critic, who I would say is a pretty nasty troll, a rarity among Meghan's critics, just like her fans. They doxed and bullied this British woman in a very aggressive way. Show her pictures of her house and hers. They are evil. I looked at all their pages and checked other posts and followers. I also feel sad to say that the press is also silencing her history of bullying, her pregnancies, and her life before Harry. They're following the Sussex team like they're pulling out the weeds. I wonder how Harry feels knowing his wife is attacking his brother and sister-in-law relentlessly, using the vilest slurs, and that she's been doing it for years and years. But it seems he doesn't even care. He's just as complicit, if not worse than his wife. He's a spoiled, petulant brat who is wildly ungrateful for his privileged life. He complained about everything, rather than be grateful for what he was born into. He's a privileged male who is just as vile. As in his book, Harry thanked the Sussex Squad, and at least once Meghan called one because the girl put the call on Twitter. Was very excited, and when Archwell was first formed, Sussex Squad was listed on the list of people to thank for their help. That shows either naive or nasty. When they teamed up with Boozy on the Netflix show, he ran a bot sentinel and he used that to send out vicious rumors. He has said Catherine doesn't have cancer and is using that to deflect. He also spreads very nasty and personal things. This is one of their collaborators. Very odd situation, and they should strip all ties with people. However, all the celebs here in the US who were nasty to Catherine are with Windows Media Encoder, Meghan's PR agency. I do not think that this is a coincidence. Even on her old blog, The Tig, Meghan dragged Catherine and her wedding to William, criticizing her and the event for being too expensive. Then she washed ashore, and Flotsam and Jetsam demanded an even more expensive royal wedding for the two of them. This explains how Meghan feeds her narcissistic hunger for attention without leaving the house. She's interacting with these psychos online all day. I also want to reveal one more detail. Shalon Lester, who worked for Star magazine for many years, posted a video about the Harkles right after Megxit. She had stated that in all the years she was with Star, they were rarely fed stories about the royal family. The palace had a rep for being a very tight ship until Harry's wife came along. Once she and Harry were engaged, the leaks from palace sources were endless. Harry's wife was exposed years ago for literally begging tabloid journalists in the UK to meet her and write about her. She was desperate to turn her role in Suits into global stardom. Her creepy diary was also leaked to the Daily Mail, proving she was quite literally stalking Harry and was very desperate for him to make her a princess. This was before she had gained much control over her narrative, before having the public domain scrubbed off her darkest secrets. Too many lies after lies from Harry and Meghan. Or they must return all royal titles and fully renounce and leave the royal family alone. Since Meghan entered the royal family, it's been the worst thing ever with all this atrocity. They're an embarrassment and, frankly, a disgusting pair. The Sussexes, the kinds of people who can invest in that much time supporting a couple they don't know, from a psychological standpoint, have some serious attachment issues. Being emotionally drawn to Harry and Meghan reveals a serious void in their lives. All of this, combined with their hatred towards others, shows you how bitter and unhappy they are. A happy, secure, and well-adjusted person would not act this way. Much of the media is ashamed of itself for being silent for so many years. It's pathetic on so many levels. Harry and this one wife will never put an end to their actions and behaviors or stop their fan base from being their malicious, inconsiderate mental issues on their attack on the royal family. I pity those poor fools for stupidity and foolishness. As for the royal family, especially William, my heart breaks for William. There was a time he truly loved and trusted his brother, and to have Harry betray him in such a cruel and public way has to be beyond devastating and unforgivable. In a way, I'm glad Elizabeth II is no longer here to witness this. She would be so heartbroken too. As for King Charles, he probably won't protect Harry anymore after the last attack on Camilla and Catherine. Harry flew all the way there and Charles gave him 11 minutes and then flew away with the rest of the family. Didn't even invite him to stay in all the rooms that the royal family had access to. Make him get a hotel. Didn't even inform him of the cancer diagnosis. In my opinion, the interference with free speech on British television by an American using a British royal title was, to be polite, unacceptable. It's constitutionally and diplomatically highly irresponsible. It's also now very clear that the same American is again using a royal title to bully and silence critics as well as target members of the royal family. Finally, Harry and Meghan will not ever speak against the Sussex squad because, in my opinion, after hearing that they called a member of the Sussex squad to tell them to thank you for all they have done for them and to keep up the good work because Meghan is the leader, the person who started it all. In my opinion, and based on everything that has transpired since their marriage, Meghan is so desperate for power and status that she, along with Harry, started the vile and harassing comments, plus recruited people to help destroy Princess Catherine, most of all due to Meghan's jealousy. They want to force people to either make Harry and Meghan king and queen or destroy it altogether. This whole thing with Harry and Meghan is all about jealousy. It's just good old-fashioned jealousy from two adults who were way too spoiled as kids and they want it their way or else. The royal family just removed any royal titles from Harry and Meghan, along with their children, and placed on all forms of social media that the titles have been removed and will never be restored. Then banish Harry and his family from anything royal-related appearances. Banish them from the British Kingdom. Let's wait and see what happens with his application for entry into the USA and if he stated that he has taken drugs. If he is booted out of the USA, don't let him back into the UK. And you, what do you think about Meghan and Harry being behind the Sussex squad? Is it the lying couple's excessive jealousy? In my opinion, they need to quickly stop using the Sussex squad to replace their evil acts. The lying couple only knows how to use public opinion to defame their royal family for profit. It's sad and shameful. Reflecting on the issues we have just discussed, I believe it opens up many fascinating perspectives and deepens our understanding. Your opinions are extremely valuable as they enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from many different angles. So, do you like the topic I brought you today? If so, type OK. And if you don't like it, that's okay, but please leave me a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video because your support is a strong motivation for us to continue to improve and provide deeper content. Thank you, and I look forward to our next meeting. Take care! Meghan is very good at self-promotion, and this time she continues to use her racism to exploit. Let's analyze how she used her race card to seek support and threaten the royal family in this video. And welcome back to my channel. Take a look. Meghan has repeatedly used the racist card since her first days entering the royal family. She built the image of a woman of color bringing a breath of fresh air into the firm. However, Meghan has twice dropped bombs on the British royal family by accusing her of racism here. Meghan has become a proxy for racism. A lot of people, mostly women, support her, but they didn't know all just is her plan. The fact that she said those things make them true, and you can't reason with them. Why would the royal family allow the $30 million wedding and Charles to walk her down the aisle if they were racist? In fact, if you pay close attention, you will easily realize that Meghan is the one who has a special attitude towards people of color. She refused help from a royal employee because he was black. When you see older videos of Harry and Meghan being met by people of color dancing in Africa, she is obviously scared of them and keeps as far away as possible and has her claw on Harry whereas he was enjoying it. I guess that the black communities must be offended by her claims to identify as being a woman of color. She has used that scenario at every opportunity after the ring was on her finger, then played the race card against Harry's family. Apparently, no one knew she was black before she screamed she was black. Her skin color used to be much lighter, but now it's getting darker and darker simply because she needs that skin tone. Her narcissistic personality disorder does not allow change. She has always been and will always be exactly what she is. She can put on very temporary facades, but greatness never was and never will be in her future. What angers me so much about the tall tale Meghan told is the damage she knew full well she was doing to race relations both in the UK and the US. She is a woman who denied her race through her whole career pre-Harry. She hurt many relations in this country, and all because she wanted to hurt the royal family. Now, Meghan's reputation is worse now that she left the royals. Harry was one of the most popular royals despite his complaints about the media before he married Meghan. Meghan is driven by self-importance and ambition beyond her own ability. She was able to take advantage of the emotionally underdeveloped prince. By stirring up rumors and whisperings that the royal family is intrinsically racist, the dangerous duo has instigated unrest and dissent in Commonwealth countries that would never have thought about racism in the royal family. The royal family has been the strongest supporter in so many ways of indigenous cultures throughout the Commonwealth. It is simply slanderous that they implied racism in the royal family. For these very reasons, I don't understand why they haven't been made to disassociate from the royal family at risk of legal action. I understand King Charles is worried about his dear boy, but the damage these two are doing is beyond legal now. As for mirching the royal name, how does she get away with it when she was specifically warned against it? I know she is in a foreign country, but there have to be legal ramifications from illegally using their titles. It just makes my blood boil after what they have done to try and defame the British royal family. I really think that from the beginning, Meghan had no intention of spending a long time in the British royal family. Meghan can't love Harry because if she did, she'd be a supportive, loving, caring wife who would endear herself to his family. It's difficult to find common ground when you marry between both sides of the family, but a loving spouse would try. Meghan Markle was horrible before, during, and after she left the royal household. She's horrid and ungrateful, but she's the loser. Meghan had a remarkable opportunity to make huge strides in race relations, but she was too selfish. What she had was wealth, power, and position from which she could have done so much good. But no, she wanted fame. Well, she got infamy. Does that count? We know that Meghan strives to be Diana 2.0, but now I only see pictures of Amber 2.0, who shows traits of a C-list actress who used every means to grab opportunities, including her body and marriage. Amber used people's sympathy for victims, often women, of domestic violence, to cheat the public, while Meghan used her race to make false accusations to intimidate the royal family and British media to get what she wanted. The public has seen through her, which is why her reputation has plunged significantly. The British did welcome Meghan and were happy that Harry had found his partner. But later, we were all trashed. Never again will we trust anything that those two say. We don't like traitors who earn money by trashing family on the world stage. Can you think of anything more unscrupulous and unkind? Harry basically said if the royal family won't support a very quick marriage, they would say it's because of her ethnicity. I'd think if that was the case from that day forward, the family would have become very guarded, because that was a threat and lie if he told them that. But instead, quick marriage, big wedding, and the beginning days the family and firm seemed to really go out of their way to accommodate Meghan. So, I think of another case. It just seems the race card got pulled a little later, after the marriage. Just seems the race card was used once they got told no to half in, half out, with a meeting with the late Queen. That was finally one of the first hard they came up against in the 18-month marriage. And that's just a gentle way to use this race card. More devastating things came later. Meghan and Harry appeared on Oprah's interview while Prince Philip was dying. They directly attacked the royal family with accusations of racism. They were the ones who tormented Prince Philip and the late Queen in their final years. Next, King Charles and the Princess of Wales were baselessly accused of being racist towards Archie. Bombs continuously target the royal family. Meghan took full advantage of this card to become a victim. Luckily, we still trust the royal family. When Meghan's true face was exposed, the public knew she was just lying and trying to be a victim. Meghan no longer uses race cards in this direction. She immediately became a humanitarian who always stood up to support those in difficult situations. And when the firm faced the problem of thin staffing when King Charles's cancer was announced, Meghan and Harry immediately appeared at the Jamaicas, which wanted to separate from the monarchy. Why did these two adults choose such a sensitive time? They are so bad. And let's not forget a key element of this. I'm Black's strategy, Doria, Meghan's mother. She's disappeared for a while and only reappeared recently. Apparently, Meghan brought her out to attract attention after a series of disastrous failures of her new fake brand. Nothing she did could surpass the information about the Princess of Wales, so she continued using the race card, even though it never worked. Doria approached the Kardashians and Beyoncé's mother to empower her daughter. It looks like Africa is next in Meghan's plans. She and Harry prepare for an art event there for charity purposes. Well, let's just call it charity, even though I don't know what percentage of revenue will be used for that purpose. I'll call it the way everyone calls it. I think this strategy of Meghan is wrong. She thought that helping the people here would increase her sympathy, but Meghan was wrong. Choosing Africa at this time only makes people think of the Africa Park scandal, where locals were treated poorly. And what makes people more angry is that Harry, the organization's representative, has never once spoken out about this issue. And Meghan, who is always noisy and appears to be a humanitarian, also chose to stay silent. She made no move to speak up to regain justice for them. So why do the Sussex couple still dare to choose Africa for their next PR round? Perhaps they are stuck, so they do everything to survive. But really, their reputation is now beyond repair. Meghan has used every means that race card can offer, but has never been successful. It always backfires, and maybe this time too. Signs of the witch's decline are clearer than ever. She always fails at everything. No matter how many cards she has, she can't do anything, especially with evil intentions. That also brings us to the end of this video. Which time do you think Meghan's use of the race card was the most unsuccessful? Please discuss this with us by commenting. And if you agree with my point of view, please comment okay. If not, please express yours so we can know your opinion. Don't forget to like and share the video because your support is our motivation. Let's subscribe to receive notifications about the newest videos. We will be back soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye. Harry has long considered Prince William his archenemy. Despite Harry's efforts to discredit and provoke him, William still maintains a composed demeanor in public, diligently fulfilling his duties and responsibilities. Let's discuss how the future king said no to his younger brother's tricks in this video. And welcome back to my channel, my thirsty friends. From what we see, Harry has always been jealous of his brother. If before he just hid it in his heart and was still truly happy with the Prince and Princess of Wales, now it has changed. Meghan's appearance has ignited the flames of jealousy, especially when William advised Harry to rethink his decision to get married when everything happened so quickly. However, this made Harry even more upset with his brother. He even slandered both William and his wife for being racist. After leaving the royal family, Harry and his wife continuously threw mud at his family, especially constantly provoking William through all media. He hoped the Prince of Wales would answer him. That's how he sought pity through his constant whining. However, William never once spoke ill or criticized the Sussex couple. Many people call this feud. However, I think the situation between Prince William and Harry is not a feud. There must be at least two parties fighting to call it a feud. The best way to describe the situation between the brothers is that one brother and his wife have relentlessly and deliberately attacked the elder brother over several years. My opinion is that Prince William will be very far away when Harry visits the UK. The royal family cannot trust Harry and their wife. When trust has gone, it is very difficult to reunite with the guilty party. I think that Prince William is completely disgusted with Harry and his wife. Attacking Princess Catherine when she is dealing with cancer is the final nail in the coffin. No one can blame Prince William for severing of ties with his once very close brother. Many sources have continuously talked about reconciliation recently. Some sources even said that William and Catherine attempted to reconcile with Harry and Meghan. They even suggested Prince and Princess of Wales invited Harry and Meghan to bring their children for a visit, possibly as a means to test their willingness to engage in family reconciliation efforts. Personally, I don't believe in any of this. Prince William has a lot on his plate. At this point, Harry is not even a thought. William has done nothing wrong and is moving on. I don't understand why this burden of Harry is put on William's shoulders. Harry has caused this. No, William and Catherine are not reaching out. They want nothing to do with them. This is a fake story. Yesterday, the story was Harry wants an apology. So which is it? Harry is not in a position to make demands. These stories are made up of the people in California, Harry, and his wife. They are paving the way to return to the UK next May for the Invictus Games celebrations. Harry has a reason to return, but Meghan's way back to the UK seems to be closed. A reliable source reports that Meghan has sought out UK PR experts. If she thinks she can rock up in the UK and host the Invictus fashion spectacle, she better think again. They will be booed and heckled wherever they go. It will be far worse than the late Queen's Jubilee. We have had enough of their lies and disrespectful behavior. Meghan had a few boos in Canada. Maybe in the UK it won't be the same, but I'm sure the welcome won't be there. So this story of reconciliation is just a smokescreen. There's absolutely no way the Prince and Princess of Wales have reached out and asked them to bring the children to visit. That bloody olive tree is dead and all the branches have been broken. I'm sick of hearing this nonsense. Why is it on William and Catherine to forgive those two? They've done nothing wrong. It's the other two grifters that have burned everything to the ground. I wouldn't blame William or Catherine if they never spoke to the Sussex couple again. Why invite a viper into your nest? As for Harry, when will he grow up? Harry is nothing but a man-child. He runs around and acts like William's mother didn't pass away either. I think it's time to grow up and get over it. He needs to take a real job and move on with his life. Harry didn't appreciate what he had and was too blinded by his own arrogance. He never understood they tried to give him direction. William, on the other hand, has used this role he never asked for to help others. Harry was so immature that he was incapable to understanding that William was only trying to protect him from himself. Unfortunately, it appears that Harry had long-term jealousy, anger, pettiness, and hatred for his brother, perhaps his father also. The book really exposed so much of Harry's heart. Also, it seems the family covered up for him for almost everything. Scholastically, his tours of duty, we hear he was just protected, his use of drugs and alcohol, and his apparent escapades of carrying on, embarrassed the family's image. The Invictus Games I thought were a Harry, William, and Catherine endeavor. Prince William has nothing to be sorry about. He tried to help his younger brother who didn't listen. Harry made his choice, and the end of the story. It must be horrendous to have a brother who would stab you in the back in such a brutal fashion. I can't even tell you how sick I am of Harry and Meghan. They just won't go away and leave the royal family alone and us. William just wants peace for his wife and family, and who can blame him? Prince William must be heartbroken, especially his only sibling, a brother who betrayed him. I don't think William will ever reconcile with Harry and Meghan. I just cannot ever see that happening again, especially after Harry and Meghan being part of a global takedown of Princess Catherine and trash his character. There can be no reconciliation. Harry and his wife are totally disingenuous, deceptive, and completely delusional. Even before Harry had even heard of Meghan, he was a volatile basket of bad temper, over-entitlement, mental issues, and a serious substance abuse problem. During his best days, William always had to keep an eye on his brother, who was prone to falling down drunk outside clubs, wearing mid-century German clothing, getting photographed in another country, naked with prostitutes, and blaming someone else for the mess. He has always made life more difficult than it needed to be for everyone around him. It's probably for the best that he has decided to step back and no longer represents the family. Naturally, he would want to come back. He must miss the deference, benefits, perks, and anything he could desire, all at taxpayer expense. If William needs backup, there are loads of more dependable royal family members he could draft into service until the kids grow up. William has plenty of loving family around him. He would have grieved for the loss of a brother he thought he had, but it didn't work out. Life moves on, especially when you have to deal with a sick father, sick wife, and 3 children. I am sure William has enough to think about on a day-to-day basis rather than worrying about a not very bright brother who stabbed him in the back. So, I do not believe William and Catherine are attempting a reconciliation. I believe it's the Harry and Meghan PR team. Harry is such a traitor, and having it been his brother is such a disgusting thing to deal with. I feel for both Prince William and Princess Catherine. The stress Harry has brought on is despicable. To make it sound like a fallout between brothers is wrong. Harry and his wife have driven a campaign of violence against his family. Harry is a nobody in the UK now. I'm surprised that Harry has made it this far. I think he's thinking about how he got to this place and how he misses his home country. Unless he can just turn away from his own family like Meghan does. He cannot exist without the royal family. However, one of Harry's more telling actions regarding his intense immature jealousy of William is how he never acknowledges the help his brother and the other royals gave him in establishing and giving value to his charities. Never once stated that Prince William fought the same hacking charges and then donated the rather large proceeds to Invictus. The polo coverage for Sentebale. Where is the gratitude for getting him started, forcing him to look like a compassionate human being? These were not supposed to be glory projects for Harry and the wife to grift off of. The second son is such a sad fraud of selfishness, which is not a royal attribute. We all know William did try to warn him, as did Prince Philip and his friends, against throwing it all away on an alarmingly wrong choice of a wife. He is mad at all of these people and continues the tantrums and backstabbing in retaliation and in an infantile display of having to prove that he didn't make a huge mistake. He might be even angrier because he knows he did. Prince William has done everything beautifully for decades. He pays attention to things the Queen taught him and takes up the immense duties of his position without taking away from his love and care for his family. What has happened in his personal life in the last 5 years alone has been more than most could deal with, and his even-keel manner has kept things calm just as his grandmother had done. All this time, William has never once criticized Harry. I believe that if he spoke up, the Sussex couple would definitely be flooded with criticism, but he didn't do anything. The only time Prince William spoke out to the media was to confirm that they are not a racist family. He was completely different from Harry, who was always jealous and whiny. This is the moment to prove the bravery of the future king. We can completely put our trust in him. He is tough enough to permanently remove Harry from the firm. And you, what do you think about the information William contacted to invite the Sussex couple back? Please express your opinion by commenting. And if you agree with my point of view, please comment OK. If not, please express yours so we can discuss it. Don't forget to like and share the video. Your support is our motivation. If you want to receive notifications about our latest videos, please. A detail was missed in an old photo that is believed to be once again fake of Harry and Meghan's children. This photo is said to be more shocking because it has new details. Join me to find out and go deeper into the story, and welcome to my channel. Recently, I discovered a detail in the family photo of the lying couple Meghan and Harry on July 4 last year, published by an American newspaper while they were watching an Independence Day parade. That photo shows it's not Meghan but Lily and Archie. Although it has been edited quite a bit, the physical characteristics show that it is not them. Specifically, I saw it in that photo, those aren't Meghan's teeth. She probably uses a stand-in for these public photoshopped pictures. This does not look like the same Lily at the Frogmore birthday party either. I think 3 things are going on. A. These are Harry's children, either by a surrogate or another woman. And B. They don't live with them because no one ever sees the kids in Montecito. Not out in public, not at preschool, not anywhere. I think they split their time between the real mother and Meghan and Harry for photo ops and to spend some time with Harry. Or C. I think Harry photoshops them to look grainy and vague, often from the back because of his paranoia about the media invading their privacy. And I don't think in the picture it's Harry. The lower face does not look like him. I reckon he is also photoshopped into those crowd pics. Also, the child is alleged to be Lily. In the photo I downloaded, there's a black outline around the left arm, the fabric of the dress. I'm no expert, but that's usually a sign it was lifted. In zoom mode, the child's head does not look natural. Something is off. Nice one on getting a close-up of the teeth of Meghan, a stand-in or actress. And seriously, there are no citizen cell phone pics of the family? Yes, people can be respectful of privacy, but I just don't buy it. If a neighbor or other local person attended the parade, there no doubt would have been some snaps by people with their cell phones. At least one person would have done this. This is just a logical point. Someone who knows the children are not with them in a way that would be natural for a family would have taken the opportunity to snap photos if this was the real family in front of them. Even if that person is respectful of the privacy of others, including celebrities. Also, in California, as you know, as of 2013, press needed permission to publish the faces of celebrity children. Otherwise, they must be blurred. So allegedly, they gave permission, but these are fictitious children in the pics anyway. No professional would release such blurred and confusing pictures and expect them to be passed off as professional pictures taken by professional photographers. In my own opinion, someone is trying to convince us that the Harkles and the alleged kids are still together. Yet, in some reports, Harry is in the hospital, and some reports that he has begun a project in Botswana. You speak about the ears of a person being almost like fingerprints. Take a good look at the guy playing Harry at Jackson Hole last year. Differently shaped ears to the alleged Harry on 4th July, and his arms are a darn sight hairier too. I can tell from the way she is kneeling it is not Meghan, and the child is not the one used previously. The group of children all look related. What can be achieved by them continuing with this deception? What is their aim? All seems senseless. We know the children do not exist. Neither of the Sussex's children's hair makes sense. How does their hair change from chestnut, tabby cat orange to dishwasher blonde with each camera lens? The hair texture is also all over the map. Last year, when the photo was released of Harry holding both of the children once, both of the children had dark blonde hair. As the mother of two redheads, there is no way Lily's hair could go from the color in the birthday pic to the color in the other released pic. The reason why her hair color changes to red only when near Harry is because they can use a red filter to affect Harry's hair color too, but if a red filter tone was used in photos with Meghan, it would be more visible on Meghan's non-red hair. On top of everything else in this pics, things don't line up. While in the sun, Meghan isn't wearing a Panama hat, no baby stroller, no backpack, no hat on the babies. It's ridiculous. Another very funny detail is those teeth. Is she breaking them in for the horse? That's certainly not Meghan's nose either. In fact, the face looks quite blokish. And if the photo was taken last year, it would certainly explain why Lily's growth seems alarmingly stunted. One more thing is, I can count at least a minimum of 7 distinct little Archies. Why would they play it any straighter with their purported daughter? It is all very strange. I don't believe for a moment that they'd honestly be concerned about protecting their children's privacy either. I have wondered if Meghan doesn't think the girl is as physically cute as she hoped, because by this age, I was sure who the real Archie was. Interesting, these photos are released. Which photos do Meghan claim? I must have missed something really big, because rarely have I read that Meghan released this or that photo. It appears to me that this is all a gift, with the grifters far enough to say you assume it's us or our family, just like the pregnancy with Archie. Harry and his wife managed to stay 2 steps ahead of the royal family until it was too late to deny Harry's wife was pregnant. I also wonder who hides their kids and rarely allows a sighting. Who suddenly shows them in public as soon as they receive public criticism about hiding them? Who operates as if they are childless most of the time, only to strangely produce them out of the blue? It's bizarre. I fear for these kids, whoever and wherever they are, for having to be at the mercy of such pathological parents. It probably wasn't even this July 4th or this year anyway. Could be an old pic thrown up, as that little girl looks the same as Sue's when she was 1. And apparently one of the cars that went by wasn't even in the parade and didn't have a number. Anyway, the only proof I needed was from Archie's birth until Queen Elizabeth's passing. There is no way she and the royal household would have permitted so much time to pass without maintaining in-person contact with these children, if they had been brought forth legitimately. Because they were not, it would have and would now be disastrous for the royal family to push this in any way. The root reason for this is because they know the truth. It doesn't speak to the bigger question of King Charles having given the children titles, however. The justification for Meghan to fake the pregnancies was, I think, royal children have to be born of the body to be in the line of succession. And of course, she would want to secure that. As a narcissist, I don't think Meghan would have settled for surrogacy to compete with Catherine's wild fertility. But at Meghan's age, surrogacy or in vitro fertilization is probable. And what about her father saying she had a hysterectomy in her late 20s? Genetically, they do not appear to be remotely mixed race and are entirely Harrys. Granted, sometimes one-off genetic anomalies can happen where a mixed race child can appear entirely white with blue eyes, but it's fair to say it's rare. I wish the royal family would put a public end to the question of whether the children exist or not. They must have all the evidence available to them as their resources are endless. Allowing this lie to continue is irresponsible and deceptive on their part. If the royal family wants the public's continued support, then they should step up and clean up this mess. I think the Hankel thought they were going to laugh at the royal family when it's finally found out that the kids are not theirs. I think they wanted to extort anything from the royal family. It had to come out sometime. I mean, old Meghan loves to have that mug of hers papped. I'll be so happy when she gets what she deserves. Again, I hope they can apply for a social security card, which is law in America. To receive one, you need a legal birth certificate. You need both of these documents to start any kind of school: homeschool, private school, and public school. Also, if starting school, they will need proof of vaccines, and at the doctor's office, you will need both their social security cards. These are public records for all Americans for life, and we legally need them for different reasons, such as getting a job, starting school, etc. Why doesn't someone request info as they are public records? What a mess! I know some don't like to discuss the Harkle children, and I am respectful of whoever channel I am on. Unfortunately, in the process of this lie, it's disrespectful of the children being used. I have never believed that the royal family didn't know, so how could you not? I wouldn't be surprised if their new agency has something to do with this, or maybe they all were. I want to know if these borrowed pictures were known to be borrowed, or given the fact that Harry and Meghan seem to think they are above us, maybe are being more brazen. It's just too bad they started these games involving children. I wonder, when will it end? I get it. I was informed and have been waiting a long time for everything to be revealed. Now, I'm so tired because it's been going on for so long. How about you? What do you think about this issue? The released photos are strange. Maybe the royal family already knows, but I want the royal family to take action and do something about this cheating couple. Hopefully, they will soon bring those children to light if they are real. Otherwise, they will have to pay a very heavy price. Reflecting on the issues we have just discussed, I believe it opens up many fascinating perspectives and deepens our understanding. Your opinions are extremely valuable as they enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from many different angles. So, do you like the topic I brought you today? If so, type OK. And if you don't like it, that's okay, but please leave me a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video, because your support is a strong motivation for us to continue to improve and provide deeper content. Thank you, and I look forward to our next meeting. Take care!